Once a compressor has been started and is operating properly, it should be checked routinely to make sure that it continues to work as it should. Operators should be able to detect common problems and see that action is taken to correct them. When you're checking a compressor, remember that it operates at a very high speed, so be extremely careful when you're working on one that's running. An important part of checking an operating compressor is listening for unusual sounds. Most compressors produce a high-pitched hum when they're running. An unusual raspy or squealing sound can indicate a problem with a bearing. It's also important to check the compressor's bearings for excessive vibration and overheating. These symptoms can indicate a possible bearing failure. The corrective action for surging is to increase the gas flow rate through the compressor. This can be done by recycling part of the compressor's discharge back through the compressor, or by routing the gas that's discharged from the compressor to another system for use or disposal. In addition to checking the compressor, it's also important to check the compressor's auxiliaries during operation. For instance, make sure that the oil level in the lubrication system reservoir is within the normal range, and that the oil is clear, not gritty or milky. In this example, the level's a little low, so some oil must be added. For this system, an air-powered pump is used to add oil to the reservoir. As the oil is added, the operator watches the level indication. He shuts the pump off when the level reaches the normal range. It's a good practice to note when oil is added and how much. If oil has to be added frequently, it probably means that an oil leak has developed somewhere in the compressor system. The oil pressure should also be checked. Low oil pressure can be an indication of several possible problems. Low oil pressure may indicate an oil pump malfunction or an oil leak. Higher than normal oil pressure can indicate a clogged filter or blocked oil lines downstream of the gauge. Check the oil temperature too. If it's too high, there may be problems with the lube oil cooler. Other indicators can also help identify compressor problems, so they should be checked frequently. In many facilities, indicator readings are recorded on a log sheet on a routine basis. These records are important because they can be used to spot abnormal trends, which can indicate that a problem is starting to develop. For example, a steady increase in the compressor's cooling system temperature may be an indication of a problem. Operating records can help operators determine when actions need to be taken to correct problems. If you find a potential problem while you're making routine operating checks, report it as soon as possible. Take any necessary steps according to plant procedures to prevent damage to the compressor system. Now, when a compressor is shut down under normal circumstances, the compressor is allowed to gradually slow down and cool off. It's just as important to monitor a compressor during shutdown as it is during startup. Checking for unusual sounds and vibration can help operators identify problems so that they can be quickly corrected. Keeping an eye on instrument readings is also important because they can tell you when problems are developing. After the gas flow has completely stopped and the compressor is no longer rotating, the compressor auxiliaries can be taken out of service. In this topic, we looked at compressor operation by focusing on startup, normal operation, and shutdown. Try some practice questions now that relate to this material. Eventually, the compressor will be brought up to its minimum operating speed, which is the lowest speed the compressor can be operated at without causing surge or other operating problems. When the compressor reaches its minimum operating speed, the gas flow to the compressor can be stopped. After the gas flow has completely stopped and the compressor is no longer rotating, the compressor auxiliaries can be taken out of service.